Welcome to the Daily Detox Podcast. I'm your man, Dion J. And today I got the good brothers of the flagship chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity, Washington, D.C. alumni.
Yo, baby, yo!
Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Yeah, let me introduce myself. First of all, I'm John Cotton. I'm the 47th pole marker of the Washington, D.C. Alumni chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, the flagship of the fleet. And I got here with my first vice pole mark right here. I let him introduce himself.
Brandon Craddock, Washington Alumni, spring 2008. As Brother Pole Mark just said, first vice pole mark of the chapter.
What's going on, brothers? My name is Gordon Andrew Fletcher. I'm a spring 2003 initiate of the American University chapter, Kappa Chi, Kappa Alpha Psi, and I'm currently political social action chairman under the leadership of Brother Pole Mark and Brother First Vice Pole Mark.
Good, man. Glad to have you guys here today, man. I'm curious to know, man, like, how did you get the street renamed? How did that happen? I mean, that's huge for the city. That's huge for Kappa. Just tell people, man, how it happened.
Well, one thing during the summer, just to bring everybody up to speed, in September, we had the street out front of the house redesignated as Kappa Alpha Psi Way. It's the only street that's designated where Kappa House sit at in the entire fraternity. It was a well-deserved designation for the Washington, D.C. Alumni chapter because we have an entrenched history in the fabric of this city since we've been around since 1924. I mean, a lot of great things happened. We got a lot of great people that made a big difference in this city in every field of human endeavor, from education, from politics, from anything you can name, from media, from anything you can name. You have a great Kappa person that was in that field and bringing DC forward and helping us become who we are today.
So what was the process like of getting that to happen with the mayor of the city, Mayor Bowser? I know she did the ceremony, and a lot of brothers were out social distancing in front of the house and on the street. Like, what was the process like to get that to happen?
Yeah, the great thing was it was a brainchild. We do a charter day. We were celebrating our 95th charter day. And so in those charter day meetings, we think about things that we can do to help bring awareness to our works that we do in the city. So it kind of was a brainchild of Brother David Brewer, who brought the idea to the Charter Day Committee, and he took a lead on it. He went down there, then along with Brother Fletcher right here, met with the local ANC community to get their blessings on about getting this street designation, understanding what we brought to this community, what we brought to the city. They were on board with it. And then we took it down to the D.C. Council, where we had another one of our brothers at that point in time, is Brandon Taj, who was a city councilman. And we presented the idea to him, and he, along with the credentials that says that we deserve this honor. And he presented it to the rest of the D.C. Council. And then, of course, you had great brothers like past pole mark Randy Reed, myself, Brother Terry Brooks, who was in charge of our Historical House Restoration Foundation, go before the city council and testify.
Brother Hardrick, I think, was there too.
And Brother Hardrick was there. A few other brothers was right there. I didn't want to miss nobody.
Right,
And the thing right there. So it started with under the leadership of David Brewer, but along a lot of great work with the brothers of these chapters. Everybody came in all the way to the street designation, where we still had brothers from the chapter, making sure we were social distanced on that day. So it was a great day. It was a great team effort. It was definitely led by Brother Brewer, who did a fantastic job of leading us forward. So
I saw you guys went down to the Black Lives Matter and protested down there as well. How was the experience of down there? I mean, what was it?
Well, and I'll let Brother Fletcher, because I'm going to turn it over to him. But the biggest thing about that is we have objectives in Kappa Alpha Psi, and that's to inspire service in the public interest and then protect the social and moral welfare of people throughout this city and throughout this country. Washington D.C. Alumni is big on doing those things. So with that, again, we had the Black Lives Matter protest, and that was led by Brother Fletcher. So I'll let him talk a little bit more about what led into that.
Yeah, thank you, Brother Paul Mark. Before we even got to the idea of having a Black Lives Matter committee for the Washington, D.C. Alumni chapter, Brother Brandon Craddock and myself went down to a march at Black Lives Matter, and we were like, we got to do something with the Brothers of the Flagship. And so, and we talked to Brother Cotton about it. At the time was the first Vice Paul Mark, and the Paul Mark at the time, Brother Reed, supported the idea. And so I'm proud to say, that march that we did was probably the largest led Black Greek letter march for Washington, D.C. chapters. We saw a lot of different sororities and fraternities come out there with us. It was historic also because of the fact that, we had a lot of our senior Kappas that were out there with us. They actually marched with us. Some of them actually marched with us from 1708 S Street all the way down to Black Lives Matter Plaza. And it was historic because we had Robert Jenkins, who's one of the past Paul Mark. He's also past Eastern Province Paul Mark and current Grand Board member and one of the most well-known criminal defense attorneys in the country. So we had a lot of different brother support. I think we had over 200 people in attendance. And one of the big things about this is that if we're Black Greeks, right, in 2020, when you have a movement such as the Black Lives Matter movement and others, we can't be silent. We cannot be there, because what's the point of us rocking these letters and saying we're Kappa men if we're not there supporting the Black Lives Matter? Young Black men, young Black women, older Black men, older Black women. So that's the reason behind it. And I'm just thankful that Brother Paul Mark, for the first Vice Paul Mark, trusted me in that position.
Nice. Wow. So how have you guys been able to maintain through this whole COVID and social distancing type of involvement?
Well, again, and that comes back to leadership, and that comes back to my position is there. The biggest thing that I'm saying is transitioning to this new environment where it's technology based, where we're doing a lot of now meetings are hybrid now, where part of the meeting is virtual for brothers to sit there, but we have some in-person meeting. During this COVID situation, when it first happened, we was one of the first people on the scene. We did a couple of first responder helping them out, where we provided meals for the first responders. PPE gear.
Yep.
We did a program where we provided PPE.
Yep.
We still trying to do our service to the community while we in this COVID situation. And just as much as that is getting that word out as safely as we can. Like you said, we did the Black Lives Matter protest march in the middle of that, but we did it safely where everybody did the mask was required and things of that nature. So we just trying to adapt. And the great thing you have to do
and for the Black Lives Matter too, also it shows our connection with the city. We had Councilmember Robert White, who just won re-election, I think, with over 100,000 votes and whatnot. He's been a good partner with the chapter as well. So we're building relationships and continuing on those relationships with the political leaders, the community leaders within the city as well.
Right.
I think one of the things that anybody that's in business knows, one of the words that's always kicking around is agile. And I think particular with this situation is forced us to expand what our capabilities are without stopping the functions of the chapter, as Brother Omar mentioned about, taking advantage of all the technology that is available, making sure that we're able to still connect with our brothers. I think that has been key, and I think Washington Alumni has been very successful in making that happen.
Do you think that intake is going to be lessened now since COVID, where you can't reach certain brothers, or they just can't, they're just not available, they don't want to be connected because of social distancing? You think the membership is going to change due to COVID?
Well, on that point, the biggest thing now is reclamation. So we get to a point where we can decide how do we go forward for our new members. What we have to do is recapture our old members right now. And I think we're doing a very good job of reclaiming the members in this city, being that we're a new Washington alumni, that we're transitioning and finding out what their passions are, what will make them come here and help them expand their self as we expand ourselves. So I think as long as we're doing a great job of reclaiming these brothers that live within the city. Now, while we were a membership last year of 193 members, we still got maybe eons more Kappas just living in this city and just being around this city. My goal is to get every Kappa that live within the boundaries of the Washington, D.C. to be a member of the Washington, D.C. Alumni chapter. I mean, there's a lifelong commitment to our ideas and purposes. I think you bring your passion, you bring your goals, and we'll find a way to make it work.